I am Duke Christoph. I'm here with Count Bart and Sir Felix. We're doing some more videos on the Atlantean Army, and today we're going to talk about the Atlantean Army Cavalry. We've already discussed infantry and some of the terms, so let's jump in on the cavalry. Hey, guys. All right. Cavalry overview. Small groups. Run fast in armor. High levels of endurance. And basically, that's what the cavalry is in a nutshell. A bunch of mainly, I will say, Felix, shields. They're your sword and boards. They have high endurance. You can move around the field. You have the endurance, the ability to get around the field in armor. And it's composed of select individuals. So like I said in an earlier video, when I joined the Atlantean Cavalry, it was people from Duke Michael of Bedford, who's been in the game 726 years, all the way down to me, who was in it for a month and sold my soul to the devil. The cavalry is led by experienced commanders. This is a unit that will work independently of the warlord. The warlord usually will give them a basic premise of what we want to happen, and sometimes the warlord will work off of what the cavalry commander actually does, and vice versa. So we really need an experienced person into that role and one that can keep the group together. Agreed?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So jobs of a cavalry, what's the next slide we got? Disrupt the enemy, react and keep moving. Exploit flanks, do brushes and crushes. So it's a small slide, but there's a lot to be said in this. And disrupt the enemy. So I have my infantry. My cavalry usually branches off to the left and right. Keep moving. As the infantry goes up, the experienced commander would call one of these flank, brush, and crush maneuvers out. So probably the whiteboard right now would be the best way to explain this.
Absolutely.
So you have your infantry, the big block, you have the enemies, and the cavalry right now looks out on the left flank. So right now at this point of view, Felix, I guess you could go in and see what you would say. Let's say you're commanding that group right there. And our purpose, this is a field battle, I assume. As the infantry on this situation, I would start advancing the infantry to keep pressure on that main group, to keep their eyes on us.
So, Warlord, what command would you call there?
We would advance. We would advance slowly. We would advance as a group. We wouldn't want to get too far ahead, too far back, and I would probably advance a little bit faster than I would normal because I'm looking at one of their cab groups on the side over there. So I really want to mix it up with that unit before I can give that other cavalry unit a chance to flank us. So as we're moving up and engage, probably a little quicker because, like I said, I want to get in that. What would the cavalry do here?
Yeah, Sir Felix, tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. So usually we would coordinate in advance and we would identify what the cavalry is trying to do. In general, it's a little similar to what the infantry does, just at maybe a faster pace since these are our folks that can run in armor. So we're either going to be looking to attrit the enemy, right? Or we're looking to disrupt or gain real estate on the enemy. So that's where in pretty much all these maneuvers could be determined. The terminology could be used just flanking, right? So on that enemy unit, we're either going to try to do some type of flanking maneuver where we roll, we cause that edge to roll, right? And be strung out. So now that Atlantean unit that's on the left there can now punch in because we've disrupted that unit in some kind of a way. Or we're looking to get behind that unit to start attacking the command structures as well as the mixed weapons. And we accomplished that using some of the bullet points we discussed on the earlier slide, which we can go into.
Yeah, let's go into that. So the job of the cavalry is to disrupt the enemy, stay reactive, keep moving, don't become a static target, because there are bigger fish out there that will gobble you up, right? So you got to avoid letting people engage you on their terms. You got to engage people on your terms as cavalry. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And then when it comes down to the exploit functionality, that's when other people are flat-footed and don't know you're there, or they know you're there but can't react. So in this case right here, Chris has moved his forces up and he has engaged the enemy unit by advancing. Most members of this enemy unit are paying attention to the Atlantean infantry fighting with them, and the Atlantean infantry is doing a great job in this static line-to-line battle, eating them up. And then Sir Felix, you're taking your cav, and we see that they're flat-footed. They're not paying attention to us. We've got a couple of options for you as an experienced cav commander to call. We've got just a general flank. We have just a general flank. We have brush, and we have crush. So walk me through what you would do if you just flanked. What would that look like?
Yeah, sure thing. So basically we would run around that line. So we would not engage that line as we ran around them. That's your general flank. So we run around the line, and then we start engaging command structure, mixed weapons.
And I think it's important to realize what happens then is the integrity of that line weakens, because it starts taking the second and third rank of spears, shields, the command structure. They start breaking away from the line to engage this new threat. And as an infantry commander, as that line starts breaking down, now as infantry, we have to capitalize on what just happened. We push in even harder.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have the numbers to attrit all of those enemy units, but we are a threat that they have to engage, and they are typically going to engage us with larger numbers, and that provides that Atlantean unit the local numerical superiority on the front lines to start really attriting and pushing in.
Absolutely. So that's general flank. That's what it looks like. And then let's do brush next. So here we are. So what does brush look like, Sir Felix?
Yeah, sure thing. So a brush is just literally where you're going to engage the enemy unit on your way, flanking through, and you're just brushing the side of the unit. So yeah, exactly. So you hit that left edge. So what this accomplishes is disrupting as well as attriting that left side. So that's the advantage there. You're actually impacting the front line on your way through to hit the back, and that will provide. Remember that local numerical superiority. You're trying to provide that local numerical superiority through disrupting and attriting that left. So you're really doing a favor to the left side of that Atlantean unit for them to exploit on your way to the back. And once you get to the back, your objectives are the same as the initial flanking maneuver that we discussed.
So your grace. So let's say you're this shieldman right here, this Atlantean shieldman who's been moved to engage with this enemy unit here, and Sir Felix and we're in the cav unit. We come through and we brush. I mean, it's basically an Atlantean drive-by. That's what we're doing. I mean, we're driving by those guys. We're hitting them with our swords. We're shooting our spears in there, and then we're rolling on.
Sunglasses now that he had earlier.
So this is the Atlantean drive-by. We're popping a few cabs as we go by here, and you're this guy right here, Chris. Walk me through what a veteran shieldman needs to do, or heck, even a second-rate spearman or this shieldman here in this scenario. What are your opportunities, and what are you going to do there?
So I think the brush, different from the flank, is the brush is usually done before the main body of the infantry hit, where flank is usually after. So the brush, if all of a sudden we could turn this whole side, what you would see is almost a splintering of your group. They would see a splintering on this left side. And as the infantry right now, this is when, as a commander, I would probably call one of these charges. Call them charges, flat out charge to hit. As an experienced spearman and shieldman on that side, only word I can say, it's time for you to have all the fun you want, because that side's going to be splintering. They're going to be breaking apart, crush into that line, and take targets of opportunity. because and the rest of the infantry now has to take the time to go in there. And when I say we go in there, I don't know how to emphasize as much that has to go away fast. That group has to go away fast. Once we get this, we do not let the enemy reform. Our spears, our shields, they make the enemy go away fast. We crash into them. We make them go fast. These spearmen and shieldmen, shields should just wrap that side up. The shields, spears should be able to go in almost behind the cavalry, fold that whole side up like a sandwich, and let's just eat their lunch.
Amen. I like that. All right. Anything else to add before we move on to crush?
I would like to ask Felix. So your sword and boards just brushed through there. You're on the outside. In this situation right here, where you also see another unit out there, what would the command be for the cavalry? Would you want to engage that unit, or would you turn back into the enemies right now?
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, it depends on what you've achieved. So you have what you intend to do, and then you have to kind of make some decisions on the fly. Let's say you brushed into that unit, and that cab unit's way over on the side where it is. I'd probably just leave it alone because they're not engaged and we are. So we're going to mix it in with that enemy unit. What oftentimes may happen though is their cavalry unit will move over to engage us in the backfield. And that's a dicey moment for the cav commander. And you basically have to look at that situation and determine, can we engage with this other cav unit, right? If they're a smaller unit than us, then yeah, we might try to eat them up. If they're a larger unit than us, then either we need to disengage from them, or if we can just sit there and hold their attention in the backfield so they're not engaging our landing unit and we're providing that, again, local numerical superiority to our landing unit, then we do that. That's very contextual and maybe complicated. So, but does that make sense though?
And it also highlights the reasoning behind needing only to have very experienced cav commanders in control and command of cavalry units, because as we just saw just now, even in an overview kind of conversation where we're not getting down into the in-depth tactics and strategies of cav, you can already see that there are some difficult, highly contextual calls that you're going to have to make. And it's going to depend on a lot of factors, and you're going to have to make that decision really quickly.
It does. And so other commands, that just goes into the non-engagement too. So we'll talk about that later. But that's an important part of the cavalry unit too, is what they can pull away from the infantry. All right, crush.
All right, Sir Felix, so tell us about crush. What does that look like? So we've done flank, we've done brush. Now what? So
crush starts out similar to brush, right? So if a brush is the drive-by where we're just clipping off the end of that unit as we move past, a crush is we're driving directly into that unit. And we're basically trying to forcefully roll that line so that our landing unit, especially the folks on the left, can then knock in, hit, and exploit. And then we're just going to try to turn the whole battle that way. Exactly. They're going to go in and they're going to do the great right turn here. And we're going to be in there, and we're going to be mixing it up with our infantry supporting as well.
So yeah. I want to do two things. I want to talk about this shieldman, this shield or spear over here, whichever. And then I want to talk about your role as a warrior over here. And then I want to talk about your role as a warrior in the cav unit over here. So first up, Christoph, tell me, on the far right, I'm on the far right of the Atlantean unit, and I'm on the front line, and I see this happening. I see this cav unit come in, they crush, and I can see, okay, we've moved to contact. We're moving through. We're trying to roll this unit. What's my job right here?
So just if you break it down to the person right there in the battlefield, your job is to be like the infantry is always, stay alive, take an anchor I would guess that side there. Your job is to be a rock and let these people on your flank just crush the enemy onto you. Is the best thing I can say. I mean, not to make it complicated. Your shield, your spear there. Take your opportunities as they come. Stay alive.
Yeah.
I can't hammer that
your life
cheap.
All right,
because
so now,
if I was the enemy, the only way to get out of this is to push that opposite side. Really, is the only way I could see to get out of this. If you've done cause chaos on this side over here, and I have no opportunity, the only way I can see is to push that side right there, where I might still have numbers.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right. So, what do we do? Sir Felix, let's say you're an experienced shield here. What is your job as a part of this infantry unit here, and what are you doing?
Yeah, you're stepping in, you're engaging, you're attriting, and as those people are attrited on the left, you start moving, and that gets into wheeling, which I don't think we're covering in this particular training, but yeah, you're basically stepping in and attriting. But as you attrit, you start moving down that line.
And you've got engagement, right? So if you're here and you move to engagement here and you're fighting this person and you kill him, and this person here is fighting the person that was to your right, you've got engagement, and that's a very easy, low risk shot for you to take, right? So you can very easily roll the line by working your way down the line of the warriors not paying attention to you. So that's your job here, right? Is you've got engagement because they're all within weapons range of each other. And once you've got that engagement, that unit to unit engagement, it is perfectly legal for you to move your way down the line and take advantage of them being unaware of you. You want to be You want to be courteous about it.
Engagement.
You want to be courteous about it, but it's a war.
Something I'd like to hammer through is number one rule: don't be a dick.
Right.
Just because you have engagement and you can plant someone's head, don't take the opportunity to do it. And if you're the guy who just could have got his head planted, realize you've been beat. I don't know how to express that so much. And if we did more of that and wanting to hit each other, we sometimes wouldn't leave these fights angry sometimes. So,
absolutely.
So do the right thing. Have fun. Be aggressive. I want to see aggressive, but don't be a dick. And I think we can accomplish that.
Amen. All right. Now, Sir Felix, here we are. We're in the Cav unit. That's me and you. I got my spear. You got your shield. And we're crushing. Walk me through the mindset. Walk me through your mindset, not as the commander in this situation, but as the individual. What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah. As the individual, you're trying to get behind that initial wall of shields and engage the spears, frankly. And main thing here, it's kind of similar to being an infantry. The number one goal is to stay alive. So if you're in the front, if I'm in the front, I have my shield up, I have my sword up, and I'm only taking high percentage shots. The main difference is when you're in the cavalry, you're moving at a higher pace. So those high percentage shots are going to show up more often, but they're going to only show up for windows. So one of the skills that you'll gain, and hopefully when COVID's over, we can train some of this, is those high percentage shots come up, but they come up like in snap seconds. And so one of the skills you have to learn is recognizing when those shots are coming up. And as you're driving through, you run up on a spear, they turn over to engage you, you pop them, and you keep moving.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that's important. Don't stop. Just because that spearman's there, don't stop and engage him because you didn't get him the first shot. Your buddy is right behind you. They have a chance to get the spear. If they can't, you got a third right behind you. Just keep moving, keep moving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to movies, right? So you're the cavalry. You roll in on your horse. You just keep moving. If you don't, you stay planted. They'll drag you off your horse and stab you to death. It's kind of similar to that, right?
Absolutely. Well, do we have anything else to add on Crush before we move on to stick and move concepts and commands under stick and move concepts?
Well,
No, I think we're good.
I think we can talk about these things all day, and maybe we'll do another one where we do, but let's try to be efficient and move on.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to just have people show up and ask questions too later on, something in the future maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. So moving on, job continued, job of the cavalry continued, stick and move. I mean, the basic idea behind that really is that just like what Felix was saying. I mean, just exactly like what he was saying. You want to move in, take advantage of your window of opportunity, and keep moving. You don't want to stop. I mean, you just want to constantly be moving. You're going to live and die by your feet at this point, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
And the first command that we probably need to delve into is rally/reform, and in like what that means as for a cavalry unit, which can be a little different than what it means for an infantry unit.
Yeah, so I
let's
think
talk
we
about
left
that.
this in here so that the basic infantry realizes that when the cavalry go through, they have their own reform and rally. If I was infantry and we move through the enemy, we're a big mess right now. I call for rally. I want to become a cohesive unit again. The cavalry doesn't do that necessarily. They do not have the time to become a cohesive unit and start again. So, Felix, I think this is where the command structure of the cavalry is unique to infantry, and it has to be experienced. So you just brush through. What would your rally or reform look like?
Yeah, so I think the main difference with the cavalry is, and then one of the skills you have to learn is you all have to stay together, and it's going to get chaotic and it's going to be difficult. But for the most part, we kind of have to maintain our cohesion, or we lose really our primary benefit to the Atlantean army, which is staying moving. If we have to stop and take the time to rally up, then we aren't serving that function. You know what I mean? And we're kind of letting the rest of the army down. That being said, that's in a perfect world, and sometimes it happens. You get disrupted, and you need to rally up, and then it's kind of similar to the Atlantean army. You call rally, rally, rally. You just hope everyone does it pretty quickly. But again, the common theme here is these are all folks that can run an armor. So hopefully that we reform pretty quickly. And again, when COVID's over, we can hopefully start getting in some events and doing some training where we can practice those skills.
So my experience and background is a little bit different. I wasn't raised in Atlantia, and so I do want to say most cav units. I want to say most cav units that I've run with don't want to use the word rally if they can help it, because there's a fear or something you want to avoid where you accidentally pick up infantry types in your cavalry unit by using the general word rally. And so that's where cav in, cav out comes from, I think, or at least it did for us. So that's kind of going deeper into this than we need to, but I just kind of wanted to touch on that. You want to say anything more about that before we move on to deny, which is kind of...
No, I'm good. But like my knight would say, if the cavalry is reforming or engaging without running around, the word he would use is the green weenie. So keep moving. Yep. So
all right.
Deny. We talked about that a little bit on the last slide on the whiteboards. Sometimes the most important thing a cavalry unit can do is just step out to the side and go oogie boogie, oogie boogie, oogie boogie. With denying engagement means you never get in there to actually engage them, but you can pull a group of them away. And the word that y'all been using a lot is numerical superiority. And so if you can pull that small group away, a cavalry commander then can do a command such as brush, crush, flank, and it also... the infantry now has less people to fight.
Absolutely. So where I see deny be extremely useful is when a small cav unit gets caught out there in the world, like in this field battle, and a large enemy infantry takes the bait. And oh man, do I love it as a cav commander when a huge group 4 times the size of my cav unit starts to wheel around to face my cavalry unit. Yes, please take all of your slow and lumbering people and come after my cav unit, which is going to be very adept at keeping on and moving or denying engagement. I'm going to be telling my guys right now, deny, 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 deny. Look scary. Look scary. Look like you might think about coming over here and engaging this unit, but we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep toilet bowling over this way. We're going to kind of eke back a little bit that way. Maybe this infantry unit will buy that hook, line, and sinker, and they'll expose this flank to a much larger unit somewhere out there in space. Felix, what are your thoughts on deny?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you just said. The main thing that I'd keep in mind, especially while we're kind of have our boxes out in space and range isn't necessarily understood, is you have to be close enough to establish a threat, right? And sometimes that means getting really close. So maybe it's like a foot or two outside of spear range to get the folks to look at you and chase you. Sometimes people chase you from a further distance away, and that's ideal. But sometimes you need to close in to engage, and sometimes it'll be kind of like you were saying before, cav in, and then maybe we even mix it up for a few seconds, then cav out, now deny. Now we attack them, we've kicked the hornet's nest. It's coming after us. We're not going to try to engage them. They have way more folks than we do. So cav out and now deny. Now get them to chase you. That type of thing.
So this is step 1, cav in, step 2, cav out, step 3, deny.
Yeah.
And if y'all can stay alive for the true heroes called the infantry to come in there and clean up, that's even better, But yeah, definitely. Deny is a legit thing. It's aggravating, but it's totally legit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not losing sight of that. While we're out there denying, someone else is hitting them in the side.
So disengage, we can go and disengage. Basically, to me, it's almost like deny, except let's just get the heck out of Dodge. We've come in too close. We've mixed it up too long. We should not be here. Let's get out. Let's get out. Let's start all over. That's the way I looked at it. Y'all, any thoughts on that? Is that basically what y'all think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've seen, like in situations where we'll say that there's a castle breach here, and we're not necessarily engaged with cavalry or whatever. We're dealing with a breach where we're fighting, and we're fighting hard, and we notice that something's just like a commander notices that something's really not working out for us. Maybe we've got the bad mixture. We've got the wrong mixture of warriors in here. We have too many spears or not enough spears, or maybe we see a column charge forming up. Disengage is a great way to command your whole unit back quickly. If you hear disengage, you want to be thinking, I'm stepping back 2 or 3 ranks. I'm pulling back about 9 feet, a spear's distance apart. Maybe disengage is a precursor command to forming up a killing cup. So here I am, I'm engaged, I'm fighting that static battle, and then my commander starts saying disengage, and then my main unit forms, disengages, and then I've got cavalry units that come in and form up a little bit of a, killing cup here. Does that kind of jive with how you guys have seen disengage used in the past?
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference between disengage and deny is deny, you always are doing that threat. You're always giving a unit a threat. Where disengage is get out. We're not even threatening you anymore. We are pulling back. Oh, and when I run the cavalry, I have seen a disengage where we actually turned our backs and ran the other way before. That's definitely not deny. We turned around and ran the other way. But I think that's the biggest difference between deny engagement and disengage.
Absolutely.
So there you go. I think that about settles it for deny, disengage, brush, crush. So we have anything else on the agenda? That's it.
That's the whole thing.
So I hope this helps. It's a huge overview of Cavalry. We're all been in Cavalry. We're all friends. We could sit around one night and talk about this for hours. Little nuances of it, how we've been in certain situations where we've actually done a brush and it wasn't the best thing. I mean, so many things we could do. But so that's an overview. And thanks everyone for watching. And thank y'all guys again for helping me out with this. I sure do appreciate it. So see everyone later. Talk to you later, buddy.